Hello and welcome to my library, and I'm speaking with Jeff, and we're really looking at the work in South Africa and just talking a little bit about that. But just a little bit of background for those that don't know. In about two years ago, I went into South Africa with a group of students, and we made a documentary in South Africa. And while we were there, I was visiting a community in Durban, and I said to them, I really want to go into a place that has really the worst of the worst places that you could find in South Africa. And I thought I had to go back to Johannesburg to do that. But they assured me that they had communities like that within Durban, within a short drive of Durban itself. And so I went on a rec to have a look at a community called Amoati. And while we were there, in this place, I was with a black African friend of mine, and we were having a look at within the community, just checking it out. I could see it was a very unsafe place. I could see that it was exactly what he was telling me about. It was quite desperate, and I actually came into a contact on that very same day, just as we were driving out of the community. Came into contact with a white lady named Joan Smith, and I was as shocked as she was as shocked to see me. It was a preordained meeting, if you like, and really established a relationship, and within a couple of weeks I was back with the crew and we shot within Amoati, and we got some valuable footage for the documentary. But more important than that, we established a relationship together, because I could see what they were doing. Their vision and heart for serving the community within this Durban region was to serve the poor and the broken and the desperate people that existed there, and to do it fearlessly, and I could connect with that immediately. And since that time, we've had the fortune as a church, Eternity Christian Church has had the good fortune to really join and partner with that church. And this is what this is all about, really just reporting to you on the last 12 months. Okay, just recently Jeff and Virginia have returned from Amoati, and really I'm just going to turn now to Jeff and just ask him what he thought about the place and the condition of the people, and what was his experience. So Jeff, I'm over to you now.
Yeah, firstly, Rog, as usual, it's the people who impact us. So Joan and Titch Smith are a very powerful team, an incredible team actually, and an amazing heart for God's work.
It's building relationships.
Yeah.
The best way. Everything we do through the church. Every food parcel we give out there, Mazipo and Soldier and Derek Gumedi, they deliver all the food parcels. We feed 20 families really well, and they're the families that they've picked to be absolutely in a helpless situation.
Yeah.
So and we within the church, everything we do, so that the people know that this is not from white folk, but it's actually from the Lord Jesus. Yeah, that's very important for them to know that is God's love for them that's brought us here, and nothing else.
Yeah. And as you know, Amoati is what's called an informal settlement. It consists of probably about 100,000 people living in appalling conditions. AIDS is rampant, crime is rampant, and just a very, very hard place. You know, when you walk into a place and you see this sea of faces, this sea of little black faces, and you know that the majority of them are parentless or homeless.
That's right.
It really does pull at your heartstrings, and you know that if it wasn't for Joan and her team in there, there'd be no one.
No, that's what got me, is the number of kids that were in that community. There seemed to be a high number of kids, and I know a lot of those kids are actually with extended families or with friends, or actually with nobody, which is even more disastrous.
Yeah, and the sad thing is that they don't get that foundation which Joan and her team are providing at a very early age. They'll end up amongst the criminals and the drug addicts and all the rest of it, and with AIDS themselves. So Joan and Titch have a real mission to go in there and do something about it. So
the work sounds like it's progressing though.
Yeah, I mean, they've got a fantastic vision. You know, I think that's what's incredible. You know, they've got a vision from God and they're pursuing it. They're going.
What is that? Some of the things that entails?
Well, you know, it really is about extending a hand to the needy, and in specific practical terms, that's things like creches, it's schooling for children, it's feeding the homeless. You know, a lot of things which sound a little bit cliche-ish, I guess, you know, where we hear so many people doing the same sort of thing, but this is a difficult place. It's a difficult place for white people to work, and a dangerous place, a very dangerous place.
Well, it's a place where, I know that from personal experience, it's a place where all the criminals hang out. So, and even the day I was there, we saw a stabbing, and we actually encountered people who had actually been assaulted and were a part of
Well,
crime.
the reason there's so much crime there is because there are no, being an informal settlement, there are no street names, no street numbers. So, if the police were game enough to go and they're looking for someone, they could never find them anyway. So it's a haven for criminals, a bit like the walled city in China back in the 50s and 60s, I guess.
Just on to the work itself, more specifically, what does the work entail and what are we actually doing to help it?
Well, basically what the church decided to do 12 months ago was to provide financial support, because obviously South Africa's a long way away. But that provides, that's life-changing for Nzipho and his son Colin, and because they're both HIV positive. And Nzipho has actually been engaged and was working as a volunteer for Joan in her ministry, and that's ministering to the children who, you know, are orphaned by AIDS, also the people who, the parents and the adults who are suffering from AIDS, people who don't have enough food, just no sanitary welfare, anything like that. So just doing what they can to help in those areas.
And there's a lot of challenges we come across. We sponsor those children who don't have, who are orphans, and those who are parents are not working. And there is a very, very difficulties there. So if you guys can help anyway, because there are lots of children who want help and sponsors. Yes.
And the home visits?
And we do home visits. We visit those children. We go to school and solve the problem with the teachers. Maybe the teacher told you that there is a problem with the child, and then we go to school, and after that we take a child to school from home, and then that's where we solve the problem with the families. So
Yeah, so we are very grateful for partners like yourselves and your church, and Nzipho has been wonderful getting to know her and to love her and to see her grow and develop and have that opportunity. It's all about opportunities and taking that opportunity. She was very modest and she didn't really say how much they help the children. They really go into the schools, and they're allowed to go into the classrooms to work with the children. Then the schools know which are our children, our sponsored children, and when there's a problem they counsel the child and they encourage the child, and then take the child home to do the home visits, because if there's a problem with a child, it's usually caused by a problem in the home. So we look at working with the family as well as the child, yes. And we do have a lot of cases of sexual abuse on children, which is alarming. So she's getting counselling, good counselling training. And next year we're going to go deeper into the counselling training.
Okay. All right, well, thank you very much for that. That's great.
I would like to thank you guys for sponsoring me. Yes, and I thank God for that, for bringing people such as like you guys.
Well, Eternity Christian Church, you've seen the blessing that you can be, and the financial support you've already provided has certainly made a difference to the nations. Keep up the good work.